All right, so this is our presentation for our strategy. The company we chose to select is Peloton. It was founded in 2012. This is Courtney Tucker, Jennifer O'Brien, and I'm Jack Brown. The reason we chose Peloton was because it is a relatively new company. It was founded in 2012, as I said. It has gone through some turbulence recently in terms of strategy and profits and revenue. I have a Peloton, so I was very interested in this company. I am a very strong believer in what they do. I love their brand and the fact that they've had a recent change in CEO and strategy was an interesting opportunity for us to take a look at this company. Peloton's mission is to use technology and design to connect the world through fitness, empowering people to be the best version of themselves anywhere, anytime. And as a user, I can say that that is 100% accurate. Next slide, please. So over the course of this presentation, we're going to go through the current strategy of Peloton. We're going to look at the 5 forces analysis, plus the complements through Porter's model. We're going to look at the unbundling business model, the innovation that we decided to enact. We're going to look at the strategy focus, competitive advantage, and the innovation organization structure. Next slide, please.
Awesome. So when we're looking at the current strategy of Peloton, obviously looking at the operational effectiveness prior to COVID, we could claim or say that Peloton had very high OE. Due to recent changes in their environment after COVID, we did see that affected in the long term as of yet. When it comes to productivity frontier, Peloton's kind of ahead of the curve, specifically for their subscription platform and how their customers can use that through the bike or through other features away from the equipment that they're actually using. Looking at strategic positioning, we agreed that Peloton was considered what we would call a need-based position, based on the fact of they do have an infinite amount of classes that you can take, both using the Peloton bike, their row machine, or their treadmill. But you can also use a number of their classes and courses that have nothing to do with the equipment, such as yoga classes, or you can track your outdoor running activities, or you can work on strength training, for example. When we looked at company trade-offs, as we kind of discussed, it didn't look too hot for Peloton, for the simple fact of they have claimed to be this luxury brand of this high quality product and service, but due to an overproduction of bikes or a lack of need from our customers, they've had to reduce prices. So they've kind of muddied the water a little bit. When we looked at the fit of Peloton, it was lacking, and kind of going back to that whole concept of claiming to be this luxury brand, but now wanting to be the bike for everyone anytime. When it looks at sustainability, kind of like Jack was saying in regards to this new CEO that has come on, he's really kind of transitioned his focus from the actual product, the bike, the row, and the treadmill, to more of the subscription focus or platform. And then lastly, the growth trap. So unfortunately, Peloton did fall into the growth trap, and they're trying to work their way out. A number of ways that they're doing this is they've decided to sell this overabundance of product through platforms like Amazon and Dick's Sporting Goods, and they've also, as mentioned, extended their extensions or the other products that they service. So they now, instead of just having just a bike, you can purchase their row machines, their treadmills, and so on. When looking at the 5-force analysis, when categorizing kind of low, medium, and high, to start with the low, we agreed that the complements power was kind of low concern for Peloton, for the simple fact of it doesn't take, from a use perspective, very much to operate the bike. You just need power, some internet, and it's pretty simple. Our mediums kind of fell more in regards to the threat of new entry, the threat of substitutions, competitive rivalry, and then that buying power. Our high concern for Peloton was the supplier power, for the simple fact of when they went through the initial effects of overproduction and not seeing the orders coming through, to cut costs, they did go through this third-party company to help manufacture and apply their equipment. When doing so, this company that they now go through Unfortunately, Peloton's kind of at the bottom of their list, or not at the kind of at the bottom of the totem pole. So that could raise some concerns for Peloton in the future. And I will pass this on to Jack.
So one of the things that makes the Peloton brand so strong and the customer loyalty and retention very high at 92% is the leaderboard and the interaction that you can do while you're in a live ride or a recorded class with whoever is in the class with you. The leaderboard will rank you based on how you're doing in the class in terms of how many kilojoules you're producing, which is the amount of watts divided by the time of the class. You can interact with people, add friends, you can high five with people by clicking their picture, and you can also filter who you see based on who you're friends with or where you are or a hashtag that you use, which are pretty common across the platform. So if you could go to the next slide, I can show you that when we were doing our 5 forces analysis, one thing that stood out to us was that there were 2 companies that had been sued by Peloton and settled in 2022 based on using their leaderboard technology, which is a patent that they defended and won in outside of court. The companies Echelon and iFit both produce iFit. It produces Nordic Track, which tried to do the leaderboard, and Echelon is the Soul Cycle and other in-person studios. They tried to do the same thing, but Peloton patented. So what we wanted to do was offer that technology as a service to other companies and through an API, so that Peloton would offer the product and then other customers could customize it based on how they would like it off to view. And the way that we would monetize that would be to sell this service through long-term contracts and subscription fees, and then tie the revenue and the profit to the amount of users that each customer garners using this technology, because it's a successful technology. So the more people that use it, the more money that Peloton would get, and the more people will use the other services besides Peloton as well. The business model that we would like to pursue would be to go after first the fitness companies and then look to other industries like possibly gaming or something that you compete with or want to see lifetime statistics with. And then the way that we would create the fee structure would be similar to where the strategy is going right now, which is more towards the subscription and away from the connected fitness equipment. So instead of just basing the revenue on the contracts, have a variable products revenue stream of the amounts per users. This would necessitate a new IT team and a lot of new infrastructure, and would be very separate and different from the current model that Peloton uses for their business. And it would change the customers from consumers to other businesses. And we can go to the next slide to talk about what that means. Sorry, I disordered them real quick. You can go back.
All right, so to make this a reality, we created a balanced scorecard. So as you can see here, we first need to develop some new departments in order for this to happen. So we need to develop a sales team for the leaderboard API. We need to develop account managers, and then also have customer service infrastructure to support our customers here. And then we need to develop an IT team to really help us with continuous improvement, which is what the innovation that got us here in the first place. And then by doing that, it's going to create a really robust internal process. So we're going to have training programs. We're also looking to attract some of the Silicon Valley jobs, so the tech jobs, and then work towards our goal of having 80% of our revenue come from 20% of our customers. And then doing all that is in turn going to improve customer satisfaction. It's going to continually expand, help us continually expand into new markets, and then focus on innovation. And then with all of that done, it really puts our financial goals within reach. So as you can see, one of our goals is to be viewed as a growth stock again. So despite what happened post-pandemic with the stock price drop, we really want to get that back up and then also increase revenue. And those two things together are going to help us increase profitability for the business. And then next slide. And then we have a variety of different recommendations for keeping our competitive advantage. And I'm going to just touch on a couple of them here today. So one is that we're going to utilize the existing infrastructure of Peloton's homecoming events, which is already in place, to be able to engage the users, invite industry representatives to help accelerate that innovation and bring new ideas to the table. We also are planning to expand to other English and German speaking countries. So this might include New Zealand or Austria, as well as offering some Spanish classes and expanding to Spain and the Americas. And then for seizing, the one I'll highlight here is that we're going to refocus Peloton's acquisition and partnerships to align with this new strategy that we're talking about here today, really centered around the app and subscription. You can go to the next slide. And I'll highlight a couple of our transforming aspects here. So we want to use the class format as a framework to develop a company-wide leadership model. So as an example, we want to create some leadership principles that really mirror the different stages of a class. So it could be like the warm up, or the cool down. We also want to become more nimble to different economic conditions and develop some additional revenue streams. And that's really just a hedge against what happened before, as Courtney mentioned, around the excess equipment, or if we were to have a loss in subscribers. And then lastly, we want to invest more heavily in technology, kind of as I mentioned on the previous slide, and create that infrastructure to replicate success with the recommended classes to potential leaderboard business capabilities. And then I will go ahead and turn it over to Jack.
So in order to organize the innovation that we have come up with, which is the leaderboard business venture, the team that will need to work on it will essentially be a subsidiary of Peloton. It will need to be a heavyweight spin-out team. The processes, the values, and everything that already exists at Peloton doesn't really fit conveniently with this new business model. For one, there's different customers, there's a different revenue stream, there's different products, especially. So the reason that we wanted to do this was because given the turbulence that Peloton has had, they surged when people were at home and needed something to work out on during the pandemic, and the demand fell off a cliff in 2021 when people started getting back into the world and going to real gyms again. So if that happens again or something similar, this would be the first venture on the chopping block that would get cut, and it would get subsumed pretty quickly if it weren't spun off in just a completely different entity. The goal for the business is just, like I said previously, expand into different industries that we haven't even thought of yet. It could start as a fitness and then keep growing in different directions. Like Jen had said, there's a lot of tech layoffs recently, and Peloton would be well suited to court those employees to do the IT infrastructure and the sales that they currently don't have, because they only sell really to customers or consumers as opposed to businesses. And then it could be located in New York, where their current headquarters is, which is what the photo is, or it could go possibly relocate to Silicon Valley, where all of the talent currently resides, and use all of those resources more efficiently rather than having them all come to New York. And that is our presentation. So thank you for watching, and we appreciate you and look forward to hearing your comments. Thank you.